Good evening, everybody. I had to take a few moments to reset because I did want to be in a positive space for tonight's reading. And there's, I decided to have a topic. We're going to get through tonight's reading because it's important for us to understand how we're progressing. Um, but since we continue to see violence, I want to ask, I will be asking Spirit to give us a progress report on what's happening in America right now. So if you're not in America, I do apologize. Uh, but there's some things that has been lingering. And as much as certain people would like to erase those histories, we cannot forget um, the definition. I don't even want to say the definition, but the acts that have happened on this earth, this land. For one, when people start to erase or try to dismiss, one thing about the earth is that is the earth collects the artifacts that we try to dismiss. Prime example, um, so we take the book of Genesis. I would say at the first death ever on earth, where God asked Cain, "Where is your brother?" And Cain goes, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And then God then comes back to Cain and says, "Your brother's blood cry I out from the earth to me." And so I think that people just think that once they have unalived someone, that they're still not here. But those of us that are tapped in spiritually, whether you believe it or not, some of us do see those that live beyond what you can see in the physical plane. Some of us actually hear, some of us feel, and there are those who want to channel. That's not my motif. But here again lies the part that spiritually, people who die on this earth are still here. However, you unalive someone, the remnants of the action that takes place is still here. Now, I saw something um, about a young lady stating that whenever a hanging takes place, there's a knot that grows on a tree. I'm not for sure how true that is. I'm not discrediting it. Discrediting. I'm not saying this to discredit her. There we go. I have a blister in my mouth, so please forgive me. Um, because I haven't seen it, I haven't done in depth. But it is true that the earth holds things that happen to people. There was an instance, and I was sharing this, I believe, last week, where my mom heard a baby cry in my sister's old home. And now the child did not die, but it was found out that the child was raped, and this was a baby. And the traumatic events that took place held within the walls. That is what we call imprinting in this spiritual world is imprinting. Is because the person felt extreme emotion to the point where they imprinted in that space, and that's what that baby went through. The baby imprinted. So whether or not this person has grown up to be an adult or died at an early age, I'm not for sure. However, until somebody goes into that space to help relieve that person of their ailment. That imprint is still there. Again, the earth holds information. And so when we talk about a spiritual progress report, we have to understand, how are we progressing? What are some of the things that we need improvement on? That's what a progress report is. What are some of the things that we need to take care of in order to move forward? And if this is your first time watching this live, I am, my personal friends know my real name. How about that? But I do go by Magoon. I'm also known as B. I am an instrument for spirit to use as spirit pleases. These spiritual gifts are not one that I just developed overnight or saying. I've actually had these gifts ever since I was a child, but never knew of its existence. I never knew how to use them. And so over the last 5 years, I have learned how to use them the way that they're supposed to. So this is the first time you have ever seen me in this space. Well, this is what I've been used to all my life. There is this connection with me and death. And I used to think that, I used to ask God, am I the death angel? Because I used to feel and pick up on death so much that it would scare me as a child. And so in this space, I understand a lot about what we call the other side. I like to call it the other side of life, because life do go on, right? Um, and even if you want to take it into a scriptural reference, the end is not come. There is no judgment right now. So everybody who dies is inherently still here. If you want me to put it in perspective for you all. But I came because, and this is me giving my opinion before I do the reading, right? I am a person who do not believe in high extreme violence. I don't. Now, I may say some things sometimes out of anger. We all do. We are human. And we may all agree with some things, right? And when I say agree with some things, it means like, dang, like finally somebody shut this person up, or somebody, you know, this hatred can stop being spewed. Let me put it that way. But it is never in an intent to agree with how it's done, if that makes any sense. And I know some people may say, oh, well, this doesn't make any sense. You're just as bad as the other person. No, 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 no. Because we all have had that one time where we wish somebody would just shut the F up, right? And something happened, and they're like, oh my gosh, we ain't got to hear that person's mouth no more. It's the same instance with people who spew hate, and that's on in either side of the fence. However, if you have not heard of or watched, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting his name, Larry Reed. I want you to watch his video as it pertains to Charlie Kirk. because he says something so profound that I think a lot of people were so in the rhetoric of whose death it was that they were not capturing and understanding what he said. But he said something so profound, and I've often said that and shared that on all of my platforms. And that is, you have to be careful with the words that you say out of your mouth. You have to be careful with the ideologies that you start to believe in, that is in the harm of someone else. Because what happens is that that thing comes back to you. And if it don't come back to you, it'll go to your children. And I don't know why people can't seem to get that this law of attraction is the same thing as manifestation. So whether you celebrated a victory of somebody's death, don't forget that those are seeds that have been planted, that you're planting. Now, I too have seen the video, but then I also have to address another thing. Yes, I didn't agree with a lot of the things that he said. I had a pleasure of hearing some of his rhetoric. I didn't hear a lot, but I had a pleasure of hearing some. And I say pleasure because that lets me know that that is somebody that I would stay away from, stay far from, because I'm not tempting the devil like that. I am not tempting the devil to make me act out of character because of someone else's ignorance. Now, I will say that. But after his death, we cannot ignore the fact that there were several historically black colleges, historically black universities that had death threats, as in retaliation. Retaliation from what? Because it was just there were certain people that just knew that black people had something to do with Charlie Kirk's death. Just knew it. They felt it in their bone. So they felt the need to call a bomb threat or a threat, make threats, which we need an update on that, news and media. Are the police still looking for these culprits that would wish death upon children? Let's be clear. 18 to 20, you still a child. Your parents are still, for some students, their parents are still taking care of them. In fact, you can't even get off of insurance until 26. Still a child. And then to hear that a young man in a state that has a rich history of lynching has been found lynched on his campus, there's not a coincidence. And the thing about it is, people try to find somebody to retaliate against. One thing about me is that I learned a long time ago that anybody that wished to cause me harm, I do not and will not retaliate. Not because I'm afraid, but because I know that in me not reacting and me not retaliating, spirit got my back. My ancestors have my back. And for anybody that's ever touched me or did ill will, they got theirs and got it real bad. There are people struggling to this day because of things that they did to me. I've watched how someone's parent passed away. I watched how somebody else lost something great, their home. I'll just leave it at that, over me. And people still put mouths on people. If you have not watched Cards and Conversations, held every Tuesday in Eastern Standard Time at 11:11 p.m. on my other channel, on my other Instagram page, I would advise you to watch, because these things often come up. Spirit does what spirit does, and that is to provide karma, provide the reaping of the seeds that have been sown. So whether or not they find out who did it to this young man or not, God is always watching. Spirit will retaliate. That is one reason why I like the movie. And I haven't seen the newer one that came out, and I really want to watch it because I feel like it's a lot going on. Um, Hold on, I'm trying to think of that. I've always forgotten the name of this movie. Um, either way, you'll catch on. Whenever I think about it, I'll bring it back up. But what happens is that when you think you've gotten away with something, you really haven't, because it honestly comes back. Whether it comes back years later, whether it comes back instantly, whether it comes back generations later, it comes back. And one of the things I have often heard, and I've heard it from a lot of nurses who worked in nursing homes, and they would say, for the people who had hatred towards other people, one of the things that would happen is that they would start calling out, just start yelling and screaming, like, get out of here, what are you doing in here? um, Screaming in horror because death was coming for them. These things are real, and they come for the people who caused hell on earth. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't believe in that type of stuff, until it starts to happen to them. Until the spiritual world makes it known that we are very much alive and present. So I'm still trying to find this movie. It's a very well known movie. It's just I always draw a blank on its name. I have always done this, so this is nothing new, and I didn't even realize that I would be talking about it. Here we go. Final Destination. That's why I say it's a real popular movie. So that's why I like the fact that the makers remade this movie after umpteen years to create Final Destination Bloodlines, because that is no coincidence that you would bring this up, because we often see how when we want to talk about generational curses, we sometimes forget that generational curses also appear in death, how someone dies. If your family dies a certain way each and every time, that means that there was a curse placed on your family because of something that they did. And a lot of people just kind of, oh, I just noticed that this person died in a car crash, and this person died in the car crash, and this person died in the car crash. Well, you considered adding that up? Have you considered that there are things that may have happened? Say your ancestor ran over somebody in the car and didn't tell anybody. Oh, but spirit knows. Death knows. And death is going to make sure that that person understands that this chain of reaction, the reason why your family members keep dying in a car accident is because of something that you did. And until somebody figures it out and clears this up, we're going to continue to do this on your family. This is a real thing. Like a lot of people, when they start talking, I really wish I had connections with a lot of other people who are well versed in this. But for those of you who come into this live, to come to this show, I want you to start talking about uh, the laws of spirituality, because there are some things out there. Like I said, I'm not well versed in it, but I do know of its existence. Let me put it that way. Now, should I have an awakening and then come back and share it with you, then hey, there's that. But there are laws in the spiritual realm. I mean, and we always say it. We always know, we always quote the golden rule: do unto others as you basically have them do unto you, right? But there's so much more that goes with that. Because on the flip side, when you do something negative, we say, oh, you're going to get that karma. But sometimes karma don't just stop with you, depending on the severity of it. Now, I've talked about the severeness of people doing things all the time before, and you must understand that they each have consequences. That is why, and I'm using the Bible for reference because that is what everybody, well, I'll just say a majority of people know. When Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do," he was saying, don't give their children the karma for their actions. Don't kill them for their actions. Like let them have an easy death, because they don't understand who they are attempting to kill. They don't understand who they are attempting to sacrifice. And like I've said before, there are certain people that you just cannot touch, whether that is verbally, physically. You can't even think wrong about certain people, because when you do, the minute you do, the spiritual realm says is like the internal body system when your body gets sick. Because when you do these things, it's like warning, somebody is sending negativity to this person, a chosen one, a person that's meant to do great things on this earth. They're sending evilness towards this person. Now we got to counterattack on their behalf. And don't let it be multiple people, because that's going to be an army of 10,000 against an army of one. And I'm just throwing numbers out there, but you understand what I'm saying. But there's this, I just heard karmic law. So there's karmic law by itself, but then again, you have spiritual laws. Even I don't know why I'm saying this, but even in the Jungle Book, remember they even talked about the laws of the jungle. There's laws in everything. That's how we were able to create laws. And I know there's going to be several opinionated people, but in this time we need peace. I need people to start really thinking about things before they start to open their mouth and speak them. I need people to address their anger issues and understand why they have anger issues. Because there are a lot of people who continue cycles that need to be dead. People try to control things out of fear. That's a you problem. If you like to control things severely, that means that you are afraid of something. And then there's some people that say, "Oh, I'm never afraid of this and I'm never afraid of that." Clearly you are. People hate to get caught up in lies. Why? Because they are afraid that the person will see them for who they are. If you can't do something in the light, in the daytime, in front of everybody, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't try to throw stones and hide your hand, because the residue spiritually will come back to haunt you. You will develop a mental illness because you're carrying something that you weren't supposed to have been carrying, because you decided to act upon something that you shouldn't have been acting upon. Going back to what I was saying about the nursing home and the nurses. So a lot of people think that they get away with stuff, and they don't. I wish you could see the judgment card that just came out. I will share it. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna start showing y'all these cards that are coming out for real. So the first card that came out is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Now the Nine of Pentacles is that lucky card. Like everything is coming towards me. But now it's like everybody is starting to see that what they thought was gold is actually been fool's gold. The blessings that people thought that they had, the winnings that they thought they had, they're finally starting to see. I've just heard blood money. People are starting to really see the repercussions for what they are doing in real time, and it's being expedited because there are so many. There is a wrong that is trying to be corrected, but people continue to perpetuate the wrong. Therefore, now they're finally seeing the repercussions for their actions in real time. Gonna say that. And it's because there is a shift trying to happen. And while things are being shifted, things are not falling the same way. There's a new program. Again, you have to watch what you say. Again, Larry Live. Go watch his video on the shooting. This is why I also tell people to stop saying that they don't have time for stuff. You do have time. Because when you say, "Oh, I don't have time for da 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 da," you cutting your time short. So stop saying that. Caught myself saying that. And I said, "Wait, I don't say this. Hold up. Pause." Next is the Five of Wands. Fighting, strife, turmoil. The battle of who's right and who's wrong. Everybody's wrong. There's no perfection until you can work together. And even when looking at that, I'm seeing Cain and Abel all over again. There's no healthy way of fighting opposition. When there's opposition, you have to see what is the root cause. And a lot of people don't like to do the digging. A lot of people don't like to go in heavy to see like what is the root cause of things that are happening in their life. But when they do the digging, the actual digging, they can see, oh, well, whenever I cause this person to feel a certain way, or whenever I cause this person to lose something, that triggered things to happen towards me. And now I have to deal with it. And now the judgment card that I was saying earlier. I want you to really look at this card. It's in reverse. The skull. A lot of people are reaping death. A lot of people are reaping sour situations to happen in their life. The judgment is here. The judgment has been made, and so now the karma is starting to happen. Now the release of things that they thought was going to happen is now turning sour. I'm starting to see right now, when Joseph was telling the dream. I want to say it was to the bread giver, and he was talking about how the cows ate the sick cows ate up the healthy cows, and it was seven, and then the seven bad ears of corn was eating up the seven healthy corns, and he was telling him that there was going to be a drought. Like, I'm literally seeing this right now. So it's like all those good times and good things that people were celebrating, they're now starting to see that it wasn't as good as they thought, because now they're being consumed with the negative. They're being consumed with, I'm hearing, doubt, with fear, pestilence, violence, sicknesses, and diseases. Like, look how many times, like, we're hearing again, like, that COVID is coming back. Like, the numbers for COVID is rising again. And there's even talk that, and a lot of people are saying, I believe something bigger is coming yet again. Again, the earth holds what people try to hide. This next set, and I hadn't really seen it all until now. I'm going to show the last card first, because a lot of people are manifesting things with this magician. And what is it that they're manifesting? Glad you asked. The Seven of Wands is here in reverse. So everybody that thought they were safe from causing harm to people, now they are about to be exposed. They're no longer going to be safe. It's the time of reckoning. I keep saying that. Two of Cups in reverse. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, the Two of Cups is relationship. But no. Not all the time. Sometimes it's an agreement between something. But now the agreement has changed. It's like the terms of the agreement have changed now. So I want you to look at what's in the middle of this card. Is that not the symbol for our health? Universal symbol for health. And it's in reverse. And I just talked about pestilence and disease. That's what I was hearing. It's going to be a decline in health for a lot of people. It's going to be a decline in, let's say, what was thought to be a healthy situation. Is going to be a serious decline. I know we don't want to see it, but I really feel like there's going to be more bloodshed until people can actually sit down and have a conversation without having to be violent, which goes back to a mental health crisis in our country. When we started talking about toxic masculinity, we're talking about the mental welfare of men who claim that they don't need help. When we start talking about toxic traits, we were talking about people who exhibit and share out qualities that are unhealthy. I even mentioned it earlier. If you're somebody that has to control things, it is not working because You're not supposed to control anything or anyone but yourself. You can't continue to try to control people and say, "Oh, this I'm doing this out of love." No, that is what we call a prison. And I just had this conversation with a young man on last week, not blasting his name out, but he said he wanted a girlfriend, and but his girlfriend couldn't have any male friends. His girlfriend had to text him frequently. She can like go to work and go to school, but he would prefer that she kind of stayed home until he got off of work. And I was like, wait, wait. That is control. That is a prison. Because now, what if somebody did that to you? How would you feel? And the fact that he couldn't see it is more concerning to me than the fact that he was actually doing it. And it's concerning because people pick up behaviors of other people thinking like, oh, this is the way to do things, not realizing that they're being taught negative behaviors and habits, not realizing that they are now becoming a part of the problem that we're seeing. There are people, and I watched a few news clips, and a lot of people want to blame it on social media. I'm not going to say that the person was 100% wrong. And y'all, for those who know who I'm referring to. He's not 100% wrong. Humanity has gone bat crazy. And it's because people are not self aware as we were a few decades ago. People are starting to pick on these personas and they think more highly of themselves than they truly are. For my Greeks out there, we talk about this all the time. Don't join my organization if you don't know who you are, because the organization is not going to make you. Don't try to join my organization and try to build your character off of the stereotypes of the organization, because it's not going to work. It's going to eat you alive and spit you out. And then you're going to say, oh, I shouldn't have joined this organization. It's demonic. I must denounce my letters. Another whole topic altogether. But that's what's happening. People don't know who they are, and they get these false personifications. That has nothing to do with the organization. It has everything to do with them personally. So people align themselves with different rhetorics all the time, picking up habits that was never theirs to begin with, doing things that is causing karmic reactions to happen to them and or their bloodline, and then don't care, and then they're blind about it. And that's why I said, like, this the whole world has missed the I'm not even going to say the announcement, because I was going to say announcement, but the whole world has missed out on the presence of spirit, because everybody is so 3D. Nobody wants to believe in anything. Everybody wants to control how they be religious, which is why I don't really care for religion. I've never cared for religion. But when it comes to spirituality, I'll take the concepts of religion to break it down for you, as I've done tonight. Because there's a lot of people that personify things that happen spiritually, people that are spiritual. And when you give personification to a spirit, you are discrediting the fact that there are aspects of the spiritual realm that you do not know, which is why people start to demonize spiritual things, because they don't know it. They can't conceptualize it with their physical human mind. But yet they believe in supernatural miracles and wonders and powers. You believe and know that there are spiritual beings and things alive and present, but you can't conceptualize the fact that they don't walk and eat and breathe and live like human beings. Help me understand. Help me understand. We have to do better in this world. I know that there's people that have been spiritually attacking me. I don't have to know who you are because some of you have been watching me. But let me tell you this, if you ask me for help, it's going to get hotter. And whoever else you've done stuff to, if you ask them for help, it's going to get hotter. It's going to get worse. And I say that because even again with the spiritualness from the scriptures, the scripture says, when your enemy is in trouble, you help them. And I'm paraphrasing. You help them because you look at them and said, I know that you've done me wrong. I know you've done dirty to me, but I'm still going to show you the love and kindness that I'm supposed to. Sidebar, look how much Jesus did that with those who accused him of doing things that he never did. He loved them even harder and even said to God, forgive them for they know not what they do. Just thought I'd bring that back up again. And then it said, for you throw heaps of coal upon their head. You know how you make a fire get hotter? You add more coal. You add more sticks. You add more stuff to feed the fire. And watch how the fire gets hotter. And so that's what I wanted to talk to everybody about tonight on the spiritual progress report, because it's heavy. People are starting to reap in real time the things that they're doing. Bottom of the deck, Chariot in reverse. The things that was the positive things that was happening is now slowing down. And even in this deck, the person upright is looking ahead with no problems. But in reverse, the person is looking backwards because people are throwing arrows at him and spears. Because now people are starting to see some of the situations that they were in that they thought was pleasant has actually been things attacking them. I just heard the great divide. Because there has been a division. And when people start to realize and recognize where the division stems from and stop trying to have blindfolds over their eyes and say, oh, I don't see it. Oh, I don't see it. Just have some people be like walking down the street and act like they don't see you. Baby, it's going to be hard for them not to see you no more. Ten of Cups in reverse. Split the deck. I'm telling you, things cannot continue to go on the same way that they have been going. People cannot continue to do the same things that they have been doing. It's not cohesive to who they've been called spiritually. Because there's a lot of people who are supposed to do things and they are ignoring it. And Spirit is like, now I have to punish you. Whereas I was going to bless you, now I have to punish you because you have been doing the complete opposite of what I've called you to do. And we talked a little bit about this at the last Cards and Conversation. You can't be afraid of who you are to your core, who Spirit has called you to be. Because the minute that you are afraid, you are allowing yourself to be tricked by the enemy. You are allowing yourself to do the opposite of your calling. So, say if you were meant to be called, if you were called a healer, and you say, I do not want to go to medical school. I don't. Mm-mm. And because you didn't go to medical school and you did something else, that something else has led you to become somebody who hurts and harm people instead of helping them. And so you go down that path until it's time. Till Spirit is like, no more. Spirit, and I have heard this in the church realm, and I believed it. Spirit has given people so many warnings. If you continue to go down this path, you will die. If you continue to do X, Y, and Z, this will happen to you. And people are like, okay, whatever. And they die. There was this very powerful minister when I was growing up. And she looked at her son. I will never forget it. She looked at her own child and said, God said that you have to change your act in 90 days. And if you don't, you will be taken out of here. I don't know what their conversation was like after they left. When he got home, but within 60 days, the young man passed away. He got killed. He got killed. And we all, like growing up, we all knew him. And I'm not going to lie, my girlfriends was googly eyed with him because he was a nice looking young man. I'm just going to say that he was very nice looking, right? And they were heartbroken. They was like, "Oh my gosh, like he got killed. Like, oh my gosh, he was so cute." And da 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 da. But I looked at it like I'm looking at it now. Like you was given a warning and you didn't change. Spirit has been asking a lot of people to change their habits, change their rhetoric, change their thinking, and they refused. I'm hearing that there has been that some people even receive letters and they just disregarded it. Now let me tell you about letters. My grandmother, I forgot the president's name, wrote a letter to a president. And everything that she suggested in that letter, the president did. Now, whether my grandmother picked up on it and he was already going to do it, or whether the words that she used influenced the president, either way, it got done the way that she described it. My mother was urged spiritually by the spiritual realm to write a letter to Ronald Reagan about the Watergate crisis. At the time, she did not know what it was. She wrote him a letter and she was given confirmation spiritually that he received that letter. All she wrote to him was, repent, make it right now, or it's going to be called out. And guess what? It got called out. So he didn't listen. There have been things that I've told people, and I guess because they were too comfortable with me, they didn't believe me. Some people don't believe that the gifts that I have are true, where there's plenty of people that have confirmed that everything that I've said and shared has come true. And I always tell people, because of the way I grew up, whether you believe me or not is on you. People have dismissed the things that I've said all my life. So whether or not you believe it or not, it's on you. And when it happens, I hope that it's not too late. I hope that you are able to make the necessary changes that you need to so that you can continue to be on this plane, so that you don't cause havoc and hell, fire, and brimstone on your own lineage. I hope that. And again, the people who didn't listen to me, especially when it was a warning, I received confirmation that they are now experiencing everything that I said. They are going through everything that I told them that they would go through because they didn't want to listen. This card fell out. Yep, Four Swords. And what I heard was it's time for you to take a break. Meaning that there are some people who have been so gung ho about certain things that it's literally erasing their energy. They're being drained. So their cognitive functions is not functioning the right way. Take a break from the drama. No shade to Cardi B. But take a break from the rhetoric that you've been preaching. Take a break from the hatred. Take a break from harming other people, whether that is in thought, your mouth, physically. Take a break. Why are you doing that? Our actions always have a self-reflection moment. My moment, my reflection for this time is I have to warn people or they're not going to get it. This is me telling you to drink your spiritual V8 before you get a uh-oh situation that you can't get out of. This is me telling you, I don't care which side of the aisle that you stand on politically. Think with your human brain. How would you feel if somebody was to do this to you or to your family member? How would you feel knowing that things could have been prevented, but instead you engaged and pushed things? People always want to talk about an agenda. What about the spiritual agendas that circulate you? I want people to really think about this. I'm getting a message now about even these videos. So when you watch them, understand that I'm coming from a place of healing. I would rather for you to heal and correct what needs to be corrected. Take a look at yourself. This is what this is. Hermit, take a look at yourself. Separate yourself. Like I just said, take a break. Take a look at yourself. Shine the light on the dark places of your heart. Shine the light on that thought that keeps coming up and creeping up. And you just say, oh, but that's not me. I don't really think that way. Yes, you do if it's coming up. We have to be real with ourselves. That is the only way that spirit can really connect with us. And not only connect with us, but the only way spirit can help move us to where we're supposed to go. When we talk about spiritual blocks, it's those spiritual blocks or mental blocks that we're holding, this belief, this false belief that we have about ourselves, that we hold in the center of our heart and said, I will never let go. Just like Homegirl did with Jack on the Titanic. Jack, I would never let you go. That's how some people are holding on to hatred and to anger and to pain. And it becomes this dark hole. And the way that you can let it go is to actually face it and understand that there is something, a seed that was planted, a seed that was created for some people, and you've allowed it to fester and deteriorate who you are to your core. And if you were raised a certain way, like, baby, we got to put that down because you got to live for yourself. And like I said, this is on both sides of the fence. Because I know that there's some people of color who absolutely hate people that are Caucasian, people that are Asian, people that are Hispanic. And in this day and age on this earth, I'm trying to tell you, everybody has a little bit of somebody else in them, whether or not they will agree to it or not. My own family history shares this same sentiment, and we talk about it now. We actually have a group online where we discuss this. People whose skin color does not look like my own, whether darker or lighter. People whose hair texture is straight or extra curly. And we're having the conversation on, I don't know how we fit on the family tree, but I know that you are a relative of mine. I know it. I can feel it. We all have the same historical stories. We all have ancestors that have cross mingled between state lines. And we're Hispanic, we're Black, we're white, we're Native, Indigenous. I say Native Indigenous. And we're one blood. All of these things. And history try to erase it. What they say, blood is thicker than water. So it doesn't matter which side of the tracks that you live on, that blood is going to show up. Remember how I said earlier, if you've been watching me this long, that the earth holds the history of everything that happens on this earth. So it naturally comes out through what? Biology. And that's why they also say that whenever somebody has been killed on the earth, watch how whenever it rains, it comes back up. Because the earth wants you to remember, this is what you did. This blood that you spilled, I'm going to remind you each and every time. Oh, the reason why you continue to smell what you smell is because you did X, Y, and Z. The reason why you're so jumpy is because you know you weren't supposed to sleep with that person's husband, but you did it anyway, or that person's wife, but you did it anyway. And now you're trying to make sure that nobody's left with child. Why you don't claim your child. This is why we have these type of issues. And guess what? It all starts right here in this heart space. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I will be sharing this for those that are watching on Instagram on my Instagram business page. But in closing, we all need to do better at being a human first. We can't be so caught up in our emotions that we miss out on the purpose of humanity. We miss out on why we are here in the first place. It's not just to live lackadaisical. No, we have assignments. We have things to do on this earth. Everybody's been called to do something. It's just a few that's been chosen to do a lot more for the greater good. So you all have a good night, and I will see you next time.